second partial exam, I decided to simulate the process of making sandwiches with different types of bread and ingredients so that the customer will be satisfied. This is the working area before implementing any of the lean tools. And as you can see, it's a complete mess. Our first client ordered a sandwich with white bread, mayonnaise, ham, and cheese. As you can see, there's no order in the process. There's not a clean area, not enough inventory, so everything is bad. Our second customer ordered a different type of sandwich. This time was with wholemeal bread, mayonnaise, vanilla cheese, and ham. One of the problems that I faced was that I didn't have the knife to cut the cheese. Also, cutting the cheese means losing a lot of time. And finally, I didn't have the ham ready to be placed on time. I decided to start by implementing the 5S. The first S stands for sort. On this step, what I did was to tag all the items that were not needed on the working area so that I know that those items will then be carried to the inventory. Even though the next S is to straighten, I decided to do first the shine because I felt like my area should be clean. On this stage of improving the process, I merged two leaning tools, Kanban and the second S, which is strengthen. Strengthen means to have your materials organized and at a visible glance. So I decided to use plates on which I will put the available ingredients so that they can be in order and at my site. Now Kanbans. As we know, Kanban is a cart system that controls production and inventory. It is basically based on signals. On each plate, you can read the word refill. This word will be the signal for the operator in charge to understand that there needs to be a resupply. Another improvement that was made was to add two new operators. The first operator is going to be in charge of the Kanbans. I took the time to specifically explain how the process of the Kanban works and how he must take control of the inventory. The second operator was hired to be in charge of the first part of the process, which is mainly listening to the customer's request and toasting the bread if desired. He is also in charge of adding the first ingredients, which are mayonnaise and mustard. He has two knives already prepared, each one for adding each ingredient. I decided to mark the specific area for each knife so that the knives are always in the same place. And as for me, I will be in charge of adding the rest of the ingredients. Now, continuing with the implementation of the 5S, the fourth S is to standardize, which actually answers 5 questions. Who? Everyone must contribute to keeping the place in order. I personally will be the one checking for anything wrong. What? Keeping the order that was established and keeping the working area clean. Where? On the working area as well as on the inventory. When? Every day. As we are working with food, having everything clean is essential. Why? Because having an ordered and clean working area makes the operators work better and the customer will be more satisfied. And as for the how to achieve all this is by basically training both my operators on how they should do things and by having a control each day to see if all the activities are being done. So now with the improvements that were done, let's start the new process. The customer ordered wholemeal toasted bread with mayonnaise, mustard, panela cheese, ham, and lettuce. I had to make a decision on whether choosing to have already some breads toasted or not. But after thinking deeply, I decided that it's better to waste some time on toasting the bread because once the bread is toasted, once it gets cold, it tastes bad. The second customer ordered white toasted bread with mayonnaise, cheese, and ham. Now, let's talk about SMED. SMED is single minute exchange of dice and it is related to changeover. Changeover is a process of changing from one production run to another. In my case, the changeover is minimum because thanks to the Kanbans, we will always have the necessary ingredients available, so there won't be a lot of time between the orders. All the things that were implemented were also aimed to satisfy SMED. For example, the decision of having a person dedicated to the first part of the process so that when his part is over, he can already start the next order. And finally, one piece flow, which is a condition that exists when products move through a manufacturing process one unit at a time at a rate determined by the needs of the customer, which is actually what we are doing. Every time that we start producing is when a customer asks for it.